Hey, you're watching the Early Childhood Educator. Thanks for being here this week. We are going to do our first ever Q&A. I have had somebody reach out with some questions they want to ask. Do my very best to answer them well for you today. And while I am answering your questions, I am also going to show you a hand washing station that I set up in our outdoor play space for us so we can wash hands while we're outside. Since we are spending so much time outside and eating outside and using the washroom outside. Okay, I guess first I have to pull the questions up. We need a hand washing station more and more. Keep watching as I show you how I did that. I have not looked at these beforehand except briefly when they were first asked like a few weeks ago. So you're gonna be getting my honest answers here. Just pull this up on my handy dandy phone. Firstly, I'd like to just tell you I am an open book. You cannot ask me a question that I will be offended by in any way, shape, or form. I am happy to get personal with you. I will answer these honestly and truly, and let's see what we've got here. Okay, first question's easy, and that is, what did I do before I became a home childcare provider? Right out of high school, I got my diploma in early childhood education and went right away after graduating into work in the field. The first center I worked at, the biggest lesson I learned there was the difference between profit versus non-profit childcare and how much I felt passionate about childcare being non-profit. We'll just say that. Around August, September, I started at the center that I would spend most of my career in before becoming a home child care provider, and that was a Reggio Emilia inspired center, and so there was lots of learning and growth that happened as a new graduate. You know, you come out of college thinking you know lots of stuff, and you've got this huge tool belt of knowledge, but then you are in the field and you learn from people who've been doing really good quality childcare for many years. And so that is where I built my deeper understanding of pedagogy and of how to create documentation that displays the children's learning. And I grew as an individual. I was 19 when I graduated, so quite young. So I worked there for about 3.5 years, and then I actually took a break for mental health. I was on a leave of absence for 3 months. I had just gotten married, moved out for the first time, and some trauma in my childhood. It was a lot, and so I took a break. After that 3 months, it actually turned out that my friend, who is also an early childhood educator, was going on maternity leave, and she also so happened to work at a center that was behind the building across the road from me. I could walk there in 30 seconds. The other thing about this new place, this new town I lived in, is that the room I would be covering the mat leave in was a toddler room of a single group. So in Ontario, our ratios for toddler age, which is 18 months to 2.5, is 1 to 5. And so this was a room that was only licensed for 5 children tops. So I would be working just by myself, because if I was going back to the other center, I'd be going back to a group of 15 with 3 educators, and that sounded very overwhelming. It was a no-brainer that that was the right choice for me, and so that's what I did. I stayed on the supply list for this other center while I worked 4 days a week at this center by my new house. Covered the mat leave for 1 year. Could have stayed, and I would have really enjoyed to stay, but I was also feeling super passionate, because if you watch my channel, you know I'm a very passionate person, hence the channel. I wanted to pursue some more leadership roles. This center, there wasn't really an opportunity for me to grow in leadership because it was so small, and there was already some amazing people that, for lack of a better term, in line to leadership there in a more like official role. Of course, everybody can be a leader, and there wasn't as much of an opportunity there, and so I started looking elsewhere. And this is where we're gonna pause for a minute. I'm gonna show you a little bit of that hand washing station I was telling you about. As I was looking for somewhere new, I was very excited to land a position at the college campus childcare. This is the college and the campus actually where I got my education in ECE, and so I am familiar with some of the professors there that are in that department. Just knew that this would be a good foot in the door for working at the college if I was interested in maybe down the road doing some teaching at adult level. I was looking forward to this and to also learn some new things along the way, because every time I've worked at a new center, I have learned so much. Weeks in, COVID-19 happened. So we all know what happens with that. Long story short, because nobody cares to hear all about this, wasn't working then from March whatever till September 2020. And September 2020 is when I opened my home childcare. I've been doing my school educator practitioner's course, and so I kind of had a sense at the time that I took this job at the college that maybe I would want to be opening my own forest school, and so that was something I also held lightly in addition to potentially working for the college. So when COVID-19 happened, it was kind of just obvious what my choice was going to be. A third thing to throw in there was that we were moving from said small town that we moved to when we first got married, start renting where we live now, this beautiful place. Here we are in our bungalow and in the country, and it was perfect timing for me to open my very own home childcare and forest school. I have been doing childcare in some form since I was old enough to babysit, since I took the babysitter's course when I was like, I don't know how old you are when you do that, like 10, 12, something like that. So a very long time. I never sort of knew when I decided I was going to be an EC. I just always knew. There's an ant on my camera. Moving on to question number 2. Why did you choose in-home over center-based? Okay, that one's easy. So the reason I chose in-home, well, number 1, I had this beautiful forest space to work with, and I was opening a forest school / home childcare, which means I run a home childcare, but we spend as much time as possible outside in our nature area. And opening a licensed childcare center is a very large task and a very big commitment. I feel like I could do it, but I don't think I want to commit to that. I have seen supervisors of centers that I've worked work so much and so hard, and there's so much on their shoulders, and I didn't know if I wanted to commit to that fully. It's very hard to come by early childhood educators who are passionate. The idea of opening a center and being short-staffed and then having to have that stress of supply and maybe shutting down room. Anyway, your home childcare is so much simpler. Next question. Long and short-term goals for your childcare business. Short-term. So short-term goals is to spend as much time as possible outside, including lunch and sleep. Starting our days outside at 7:30. We come in at 11 for lunch. We eat, we go to sleep, and at like 2:30 or so we come right back out, have snack outside again. To bring more of the inside out, I want to create some new sensory tables, out more labeling and literacy kind of stuff. So lots of things that you would naturally have in a classroom inside, I want to bring that outside so that that becomes just as full of opportunity as the inside. However, I will say nature doesn't need anything for it to be a learning environment. So balancing the idea of less is more, also paying attention to all the areas of learning and development and making sure I'm touching upon those areas in some way out in nature. Long-term goals, I would love to have a naturally bright childcare space with a walk out to our play space so that we could be inside and some of us could be outside and I can see everybody, so that transitions are less transition-y. So there's more flow between inside and outside. So that's my long-term goals. That's what I'm going to share with you today. Next question. Any challenges you face with providing care in home? Oh, of course, there are so many challenges. I mean, there could be a wide range of challenges from day to day, from month to month, from year to year, but ones that are really challenging me right now is what I'll share with you, and that is doing dishes. Do not have a dishwasher. So many dishes, and I'm not interested in using disposables. The pressure that you put on yourself to operate, even if you're feeling exhausted or sick, there's a lot of pressure to be open, or if the road conditions aren't safe in the winter time, there's a lot of pressure though to stay open, and so much guilt when you close, even if you're like vomiting on the toilet, which I was a few months ago. You still feel so much guilt for being closed because parents rely on you and you only. It's not like I have supply staff that can come in and cover me. Being the only educator to be here, there, and everywhere, it's hard to have yourself fully present in every space. Okay, the next question is top items or projects you'd love to add or create for your childcare business. I kind of already answered this question a little bit. I have 2 old sinks that I want to turn into outdoor sensory tables for water play. I want to get some PVC pipe, and right now I have very make do kind of stuff, which is great and has lasted me 3 years, but things are starting to crumple. Things are starting to wear and needs to be replaced, and I want to replace it with better quality materials, pressure treated wood, that kind of stuff. And I really need to finish my slide. It's supposed to be built into the hill and have railings, and it doesn't yet, and it's been 6 months. Also, I would love to have kind of an outdoor kitchen space, but I don't know when that will happen. I have so many ideas. I could go on, but that leads me to my next question, kind of, because the next question is, how does your husband feel about your work? And I will just connect the dots there with, he does a lot of the projects. So I dream up all the dreams and he does the projects, but we don't have time. So all the projects are half done. I try my best to help, but he's handy and I'm designy, we'll say. I'm handy too, but sometimes only one person can do the job. Anyway, to fully answer that question, my husband is completely happy with my work that I do. He is very supportive and loves when I am excited and passionate about things and I have ideas. He's very patient and loving and encouraging and kind. He has learned so much about how to talk with children, and I think he's grateful now that he's a dad to have a wife who is an ECE and has experience with children and kind of knows how to handle things that come up. And it's totally different when you're the parent, but it has come in handy. He's from home 4 to 5 days a week, give or take. I ask him a million times a day to bring me something outside or to help me with something if I have to go to the bathroom or whatever. Very patient and helpful, and I don't think he ever tells me no. Always help when I ask him. He is the best. I am so grateful for you who keep coming back and returning to watch my videos. It is very encouraging and your comments are always appreciated, and I'm going to do my best to answer any messages. I do have a few messages that you have sent me, so thank you for that. And if I don't reply right away, just know it's because I am, like you, a busy home childcare provider and mom, and finding time is so hard. So please forgive me for that. But I so appreciate you being here today, watching the Early Childhood Educator, and I hope you tune in again next week. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so I can reach that 1,000 subscribers. I would be so grateful, and I hope you all have a really great week. See you later.